and resolve with all beings.
And resolve with all beings.
Forget again.
I will seek peace and happiness.
I will seek peace and happiness for the many.
I will seek peace and happiness for the many.
Transform.
And transform this world into Buddha land, unimpeded.
And transform this world into Buddha lands unimpeded.
Please be seated. Could you help me, please? Testing. Yeah. Okay, good. Two ducks in our pond this morning. They fly in from time to time. A dragon at the door, did you see it? Bluebells in bloom. Spring in abundance. Yoo-hoo! Yep. Welcome in from the 10 directions. And good to see you all. Yeah, some people, it takes a time for them to come back, and here they are. It's good to see you. I'm Hatu. I'm one of the priests here, and don't usually give talks anymore, so it's kind of embarrassing to forget the 3 refuges, which is all the things that come with growing older and not doing things all the time anymore like I used to. This is going to be a little different service this morning, so that it's going to be a way for us all to help to get ready for our Buddha's birthday celebration, which is next Sunday. Yeah. There's a Buddha's birthday story, which I would like to share with you to start with our time together. Some of it, I mostly know it by memory, but let's see how it goes. One day, the Buddha was invited to dinner at the royal court. The king, his ministers, and citizens offered and hung bright-colored lanterns along the street to light the way for Buddha's return after dark. A very poor woman of the town also wanted to honor the Buddha and to light his way to the Park Monastery. Having no money to buy a lantern, she decided to make one herself. First, she walked to the potter's shop and went in and said to the potter who she knew. They were both people of the streets. Can I have a pot to make a lantern to light the way for the Buddha? And he said, go back to the yard where the kiln is. There's a lot of seconds there. Please help yourself. So she went back behind his shop and rooted through the pile of seconds and cracked and broken ones and found a small pot quite lovely. It was a little wabi-sabi, but that made it beautiful. And then next, she went down the street a little while ways to the oil merchant's shop. And saying again, she wanted to also help light the way for the Buddha, asked if he could give some oil. And he did, yes. Also knowing her, she was a good woman going around. And about half a cup. And so she carried it very carefully in the little bowl that she found over underneath a cell tree. And on the way, she had found a piece of straw. And so she sat down and she very carefully took that piece of straw and divided it into 3 strands. And then she knotted the 3 strands, it was kind of very thin by there, into a little knot, and then she braided very carefully, strand over strand, so that then she had a wick, and she trimmed it a little bit, and she weighted it a little bit and put it in the bowl. And then she very carefully took it to the walkway to the monastery from the village. And there she saw these really beautiful big lanterns that richer people had been able to offer. And she put hers down by one of the big lanterns. And then she went to the palace for the meal. It was a custom, and for the Buddhist talk. And went back home, her home being behind the little village in a little hut. So the night went by, and one of the Buddhist disciples, Moggallana, did you say that? Moggallana. Yeah. He was the watch person for the monastery. And the watch person in the morning and at night would go around to all the parts of the monastery to see that everything was okay, properly cared for. We have the same custom here at the temple. In the morning, the wake-up person makes sure that everything's all right in all the buildings. And at night, that the lights are off that need to be out, and the lights that should be on are on, and doors are locked, etc. So Moggallana was going around the whole monastery where the monks lived, the bhikkhus lived, and he came to the path which led from the village where all the lanterns were dark, except there was one little one in a bowl which was still burning, and there was still a flame. And well, I need to put it out. It's light now. We do not need to have the lantern going. So he took his robe and he swished it to put the light out, and it didn't go out. So he swished a little harder, and it still didn't go out. And he put his hand down and tried to blow it out, and it still didn't go out. So he thought to himself, there's something going on here. And so he went to the Buddha and, let's see, puzzled, he went to the Buddha for an explanation. Pausing and then with a smile, the Buddha spoke to Moggallana and the assembly of monks who had just returned from morning begging rounds. It is the light of a pure and sincere heart that remains unextinguished. A humble and true mind outshines the vanity of worldly power. So, dear friends, let us ponder on this 2,569th occasion of the Buddha's birthday. 2,569 years ago, he was born. And we've all got this Buddha nature. This light of a pure and sincere heart, which remains unextinguished. Sometimes we haven't wakened up to it, our Buddha nature, but it's always there. And actually always affects everything that we do. Yeah. Sometimes we muddy it up a little bit with our thoughts and our delusions, so it doesn't shine through as much. But we are so lucky that we have come for practice, and we have a practice and teachings that help to dispel the muddiness and for that light to shine through. The light of a humble and sincere mind. Quite beautiful. And we say, what is this? What is this that keeps us going on like this? Yeah. Okay. Part B. That was A. Okay. So part B is that we're going to have a little different kind of service today so that all of us can be involved in preparing for the Buddha's birthday celebration next Sunday. There's a lot to do in terms of decorating and making our buildings and grounds beautiful and preparing food, preparing. And so we decided that today we would involve everyone much more intimately in the preparation rather than trying to kind of get by very stressfully with only a few people. So as Margaret Mead said, it's amazing what a small group of dedicated people can do. So I'm going to talk with you a little bit, and then we're going to all go outside and hang things and dig things and get ready for next. And if it's not okay with you, then you can watch. I'll just tell you a little story. I have this friend, she's been my friend, she's also a Buddhist teacher, Barbara Brodsky. Some of you may know of her. And we've been getting together for 40 years. And I just saw her the other day. And she's getting old too and has a lot of responsibilities. But she said, I want to tell you a story about Buddha's birthday. Haju. She said, it must have been maybe 25 years ago. And Hal and I, her husband, came and he was waited outside. And I went into the kitchen and I said to you, how can I help? People were really busy in the kitchen. Tongsan especially knows that because she always was the head cook. And wow, we would have sometimes 200 people to feed, more, all in the whole yard. And everyone was so busy. And she said, oh, so what can I do? And she told me this yesterday, I don't remember this. She said, Haju, you put a stool in the middle of the kitchen and told me to sit down and hold the peace. So if you don't want to do what we're doing, you can sit down and hold the peace, because that is always so important in a situation when things are a little out of control and stressful and crazy going on, like it is in so many places these days. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk first about the lantern dedication, because it's what we're going to do here. Do you see the little, yeah. It's an old tradition to dedicate a lantern on Buddha's birthday, the most colorful and festive event of our Buddhist calendar. By dedicating delicate lotus lanterns, these made by ourselves. Remember last week, I told you we used to get them from Toronto because we didn't know how, our Toronto temple, because we didn't know how to make them. So by dedicating these lanterns, we renew our commitment to help ourselves. That's what Buddhism is about, helping ourselves and others. We do this in memory of a family member or friend, or in honor of anyone we wish to acknowledge. The lanterns hang above the altar for several weeks and are lovely reminders of our wishes for peace and happiness for all. So we write a dedication. Already we have a few with dedications. And sometimes the dedications sound like they're reconciliation and understanding where there is distrust and violence. So trying to sit down for peace and expressing that through a lantern. Healing of those harmed by war and terrorism. A wish for healing. A wish for peace and love for those who've died in our lives and around the world. Wisdom and strength for those going through personal struggles. Perseverance for those on the spiritual path. Love and joy for those who are dear to us, including pets. We've often had kids loving their pets, or adults also loving their pets. Yeah. Gratitude, just a general expression of gratitude. And Mom kindly got some samples from last year. There must have been about 50 examples. And it's wonderful to have these kind of dedications, not just hanging here, but in your heart and mind, therefore energetically going out to the world. It's a way to help, kind of invisibly. So I think I will not read all of these right now. Maybe I'll just read the ones that have already been dedicated this year. May Dolores return to good health. Nicholas, who is now passing from this world to the next, may he find his way to a life of peace and harmony. Who was just killed in an automobile accident. Sending loving kindness to all beings. May all suffering from addiction find relief. So, somebody really beautifully artist. Yeah. For all as troubled people, all of us troubled people, we can try to do this. If we can't do this, ask the Bodhisattvas. They never fail, etc. So let's just take a moment while some pencils are distributed for you to see what you would